So I think we can all agree that 2020 has been a trash year. Pretty garbo, if you know what I mean. From a global pandemic to racial injustice to, pretty crappy political leaders. I think the general consensus is that this year has been horrible for just pretty much everybody. And that doesn't exclude us gamers. Oh boy, from what I've read and seen, this year has been very tumultuous for gamers. A lot. This year has just been full of controversy and disappointment. For example, recently, Cyberpunk 2077 was released, and people are actually losing their minds.
Clinic, now.
Mr. Wells' condition is critical.
Go!
Immediate medical.
So, IDK, if you've heard of it, in Cyberpunk 2077, but it was a highly anticipated game that's been in development for several years, and unfortunately the game was released with a myriad of bugs and also some very depressing news regarding the game's company, CD Projekt Red. The game was a victim of crunch and terrible internal management, and it definitely shows. The game needed a lot more time in the oven, 1,000 years. And oh man, that doesn't even scratch the surface of this year. The Last of Us 2 came out earlier this year, and it started the second Civil War, I kid you not. Some people loved the game, while other people just absolutely despised the game to kingdom. I literally saw people tweeting that this game murdered their family, kidnapped their dog, and pooped on their food. The backlash led to some folks even sending death threats to the game's director and the various actors who worked on the game. And on top of all of this mess, you have people at Nintendo making horrible, really stupid legal decisions, which have led to the sadness and dismay of many Nintendo fans, including pro Smash players. And I'm not going to dive into length, about these issues, as many others on this site have already done so. But despite all of these things, I feel like I should mention where I stand personally. As for me, I am loving Cyberpunk 2077, bugs and all. Luckily, it's been able to run for me most of the time. And I've thoroughly enjoyed the game's many characters, the really cool story, and the game's just beautiful, amazing world. And The Last of Us 2,
Oh man.
get ready to unsub from my channel and spank yourself. But I loved the game. It honestly could be my game of the year. I cherish The Last of Us 2. And even though some people at Nintendo right now are being complete poo-poos, I continue to enjoy my Nintendo collection. I'm still playing Smash, Mario Kart, and Animal Crossing to this day. But amidst my praise, I'm definitely not blind to the issues surrounding these games. Cyberpunk could have spent trillion more years in the oven, and the news regarding the devs and the corpos at CD Projekt Red really depresses me, I'm not gonna lie. And The Last of Us 2 is not a perfect game. The pacing can be pretty sloppy at times, and Tommy gets shot in the back of the head and just limps it off later in the game, and he's just chill. And what the legal folks are doing at Nintendo right now is honestly the absolute worst. I don't stand for it at all. And don't get me wrong, people have a right to be upset. I agree with a lot of these critical points, and I feel for a lot of the gamers that are suffering in 2020. But with that said, can we just cut back a little bit on the insanity? Can we cut back on the tears? Can we cut back on the claims that, these issues and that these games have killed our families? And I'm not trying to tell anybody to turn a blind eye to these glaring issues within the gaming industry. But what I'm trying to say is, chill. Just chill. Just relax. Just take it down a few notches, please. I feel like we as gamers live in perpetual turmoil. We get so hyped, we get so excited, and we set our expectations ludicrously high. And then when the game in question eventually comes out, Our worlds are shattered, our families are murdered, our dogs are kidnapped, and our food is pooped on. And again, it's totally okay to be sad. It's totally okay to be upset. But these issues can and should be addressed proactively and productively. Like in contrast, I saw this article recently that said that the launch of Cyberpunk was like how Hitler was named Time Magazine's Man of the Year.
Bruh.
Excuse me. Not only is this super offensive, but it is an absolutely ridiculous take. And I mentioned this also in my opinions in video games video, but people, actually sending death threats to the director and actors and devs of The Last of Us 2, like, why? Come on, like, how did we get here? When did we as fans become so attached to these projects to the point of complete delirium? It really depresses me. It actually makes me sad. Not for the fans who are upset. No, they can go frick themselves. But it just makes me sad for the human race as a whole. And, with the Nintendo shiz, I've actually seen people talking crap on beloved Nintendo developers like, Sakurai and Miyamoto. Who are you? Why is this happening? What I'm really trying to say is, despite the disappointments and controversy, we as gamers still have so much to cherish and so much to love. I promise there's always a silver lining. Oh gosh. Despite the newest releases, our favorite games still continue to exist. Like, my favorite game of all time is Earthbound, a 26-year-old Super Nintendo classic. And despite all the Cyberpunks and Last of Us's that come out throughout the years, Earthbound will always be my favorite game, no matter what. And even though AAA studios are farting all over the place right now, indie games are making some of the best games, like, ever. I'm not even kidding. Seriously, Hades is so amazing. I can't recommend that game enough. It's honestly, it might be my game of the year. Sorry, The Last of Us 2. And, just quick fire recommendations. If you have not played the following indie games, open a new tab, make sure you're still listening to this video, but open a new tab and purchase these games right now. Like, they cost one new Madden game altogether. Like, and I know this is crazy talk, but at the end of the day, there are more important things than video games.
What?
Like, let's be completely real for a sec. There are more pressing issues in this world right now that really are killing our families, kidnapping our dogs, and pooping on our food. I really gotta stop saying that. And even if Cyberpunk was your most anticipated game of all time, and you took a whole month off of work, and you got a babysitter for your kids for that whole month that you were off of work, I mean, you could be dead. Despite the latest and greatest releases, we still have our families, our friends, our jobs, our homes, and even our other hobbies. Like, despite the complete butt slush that 2020 has been, I've been able to catch up on some reading, some movie watching and music listening that I have for some reason not been able to keep up with. Like, I watched Blade Runner this year, and it's a really freaking good movie, and IMO in my opinion. Like, there is so much more in this life than the steamiest and gooeyest headlines in the gaming industry right now. And really, at the end of the day, the gaming industry overall is a sad place. Crunch is never okay, and it shouldn't ever be justified, no matter how good the end product is. Sleazy business practices seem to have no end, and devs and artists are underappreciated across the board. But don't let it ruin your life. Don't let it ruin your year. Don't even let it ruin your day. Let's just continue to have productive conversations regarding these issues. And let's continue to have productive conversations about everything. I love productive conversations. This has been a productive conversation, I hope. And let's just chill. Let's just chill. We don't have to live in perpetual turmoil. I promise. Ah, man. Love you guys. Thanks for watching this video. Hope you liked it. Probably not. Probably sucked.